Hey friends, it's a wonderful day outside, and today I'll be reading, hold on, where is it? Where is my book? And where is it? Where I turned it? Okay, so, oh no, I lost my page. Hold up, just 1 sec. By the way, I'm doing this to be silly. I did not actually lose my page, I'm doing it to be silly, and yeah, and I like to talk a lot, and you know that I'm talking right now, straightforward, and you know. Okay, so I'm going to be reading Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling. It's the 6th book in the Harry Potter series. I am very much enjoying it because, it's very mysterious. Who's the Half-Blood Prince? Okay, so today I'll be reading 1 chapter of it. By the way, did you know? This is a book, isn't it? It's also a magazine of all the... What is it? Let me see. Hold up. I think praise to Harry Potter. Anyway, so put that aside. All right. So I am on chapter 23, horcruxes. I really want to know about horcruxes. I have no idea what they are, but horcruxes mean it's one chapter closer to Harry. Well, finishing, you know, because finishing. So I'm just gonna put that over there, and I'm getting on the table. Hold up, just 1 sec. I am about to come. I am being silly again. I don't know why. I am on the table. I am going to lie down while you guys are over there. I'm over here, and it's gonna be all good. Okay, so we're on the chapter that Harry finally acceds to getting Slughorn's memory back. Yeah, hey! Okay, ready? So we're starting now. Chapter 23, horcruxes. Harry could feel the Felix Felicis wearing off as he crept back into the castle. The front door had remained unlocked for him, but on the 3rd floor he met Peeves and only narrowly avoided direction by diving sideways through one of his shortcuts. By the time he got up to the portrait of the fat lady and pulled off his invisibility cloak, he was not surprised to find her in the most unhelpful mood. "What sort of time do you call this? I'm really sorry. I had to go out for something important." "Well, the password changed at midnight, so you'll have to sleep in the corridor, won't you?" "You're joking," said Harry. "Why did you have to change it at midnight?" "That's the way it is," said the fat lady. "If you're angry, go and take it up to the headmaster. He's the one who's tightened security." "Fantastic," said Harry bitterly, looking around at the hard floor. "Really brilliant. Yeah, I would go and take it up with Dumbledore. And if he was here, because he's only the one who, hold on. I lost my, really brilliant. Yeah, I would go up and take it up with Dumbledore if he was here, because he's the only one who wanted me to." "He is here," said a voice behind Harry. "Professor Dumbledore returned to the school an hour ago." Nearly headless Nick was gliding toward Harry, his head wobbling as usual upon his ruff. "I had it from the Bloody Baron, who saw him arrive," said Nick. "He appeared, according to Barden, to be in good spirits. Though a little tired, of course." "Where is he?" said Harry, his heart leaping. "Oh," groaning and clanking up on the astronaut tower. "It's a favorite pastime of his." "Not the Bloody Baron, Dumbledore." "Oh, in his office," said Nick. "I believe from what Barden said that he had business to attend in before turning in." "Yeah, he has," said Harry, excitement blazing in his chest at the prospect of telling Dumbledore he had secured the memory. He wheeled about and sprinted off again, ignoring the fat lady who called after him. "Come back, all right, I lied, I was annoyed you woke me up, but the password's tapeworm." but Harry was already hurtling back off the along the corridor. Within minutes, he was saying toffee eclairs to Dumbledore's gargoyle, which leapt aside, permitting Harry entrance to the spiral staircase. "Enter," said Dumbledore when Harry knocked. He sounded exhausted. Harry pushed open the door. There was Dumbledore's office, looking the same as ever, but with black star-strewn sky above the windows. "Good gracious, Harry," said Dumbledore in surprise. "To what do I owe you this very late pleasure?" "Sir, I've got it. I've got the memory from Slughorn." Harry pulled out the tiny glass bottle and showed it to Dumbledore. For a moment or two, the headmaster looked stunned. Then his face split out in a wide smile. "Harry, this is spectacular news. Very well done indeed. I knew you could do it." Although of the lateness of the hour apparently forgotten, he hurried around the desk, took the bottle with Slughorn's memory in his uninjured hand, and strode over to the cabinet where he kept the pensieve or something. I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway. "And now," said Dumbledore, placing the stone basin upon his desk and emptying the contents into the bottle. "Now at last we shall see. Harry, quickly." Harry bowed obediently into the pensieve and felt his feet leave the office floor. Once again he fell through darkness and landed in Horace Slughorn's office many years before. There was much younger Slughorn, with his thick, shiny, straw-colored hair and his gingery blonde mustache, sitting again in the comfortable winged armchair in his office, his feet resting upon a velvet poof, a small glass of wine in one hand, the other rummaging in a box of crystallized pineapple. And there was the half-dozen teenage boys sitting around Slughorn, with Tom Riddle in the midst of them. Marvolo's gold and black ring gleamed on his finger. Dumbledore landed beside Harry, just as Riddle asked, "Sir, it is true that Professor Merrythought is retiring?" "Sir, is it true that Professor Merrythought is retiring?" Tom, if I knew, I couldn't tell you," said Slughorn, wagging a finger reprovingly at Riddle, though winking at the same time. "I must say, I'd like to know where you get your information, boy. You're more knowledgeable than half the staff you are." Riddle smiled. The other boys laughed and cast him admiring looks. What with your uncanny abilities to know things you shouldn't, and your careful flattery of the people who matter. Thank you for the pineapple, by the way. You're quite right. It is my favorite." Several of the boys tittered again. "I confidently accept you to rise to Minister of Magic within 20 years. 15 if you keep sending me pineapple. I have excellent contacts as the minister and at the ministry." Tom Riddle merely smiled as the other boys laughed again. Harry noticed that he was by no means the eldest of the group, but they had all seemed to look to him as their leader. "I don't know what that's I don't know that politics would suit me, sir," he said when the laughter had died away. "I don't like the right kind of I don't have the right kind of background, for one thing." A couple of the boys around him smirked at each other. Harry was sure they were enjoying a private joke, undoubtedly about what they knew was expected regarding their gang's leader's favorite ancestor. "Nonsense," said Slughorn briskly. "Couldn't be plainer. You come from decent wizarding stock. Abilities like yours. No, you'll go far, Tom. I've never been wrong about a student yet." The small golden clock standing upon Slughorn's desk chimed at 11 o'clock behind him as he looked around. "Good gracious, it is that time already? You better get going, boys, or we'll be in trouble. Lestrange, I want your essay by tomorrow, or it's detention. Same goes to you, Avery. But you guys, before we keep going, don't you guys know that Bellatrix Lestrange is a girl? They said that every single one of them was a boy. How is Bellatrix Lestrange in them, but being a boy? If you guys can please comment that down below. Oof. But one by one, the boys filed out of the room. Slughorn heaved himself out of his armchair and carried his empty glass over his desk. A movement behind him made him look around. Riddle was standing there. Look sharp, Tom. You don't want to be caught out of bed out of hours. And you a perfect. Sir, I wanted to... so looks like Tom Riddle was a perfect. Sir, I wanted to ask you something. Ask away, then, my boy. Ask away. Slug, what? Sir, I wondered what you know about horcruxes. Slughorn stared at him. His thick fingers absent-mindedly caressing the stem of his wine glass. Project for Defense Against the Dark Arts class, is it? But Harry could tell that Slughorn knew perfectly well that this was no schoolwork. Not exactly, sir, said Riddle. I came across the term while reading, and I didn't fully understand it. No, well, you'd be hard-pushed to find a book at Hogwarts that'll give you details on horcruxes, Tom. That's very dark stuff. Very dark indeed, said Slughorn. But you obviously know all about them, sir. I mean, a wizard like you. Sorry, I mean, if you can't tell me, obviously, I just knew. I knew. Obviously, if you can't tell me, obviously, I just knew if anyone could tell me, you could. So I thought I'd ask. It was very well done, thought Harry. The hesitancy, the casual tone, the careful flattery, none of it was overdone. Harry, had had too much experience of trying to wheedle information out of recurrent people, not to, recognize a master at work. He could tell that Riddle wanted the information very, very much. Perhaps he had been working towards this moment for weeks. Well, said Slughorn, not looking at Riddle, but fiddling with the ribbon on top of his box of crystallized pineapple. Well, I can't hurt to give you more of an overview, of course, just so that you understand the term. A horcrux is a word used for an object which is an object in which a person has concealed part of their soul. I don't quite understand how that works, sir, said Riddle. His voice was carefully controlled, but Harry could sense his excitement. Well, you split your soul, you see. Oh. Well, do you guys know that Harry Potter in 99 Seconds is like, split your soul, 7 parts of a whole. Well, I guess that's what it means. So, well, and also, I forgot, there's also 7 horcruxes. So this makes total sense. Total sense. Oh no, there's a whole bunch of dust on this pillow. So that makes sense. So Voldemort split 7 parts of his whole on horcruxes. Okay, that makes so much sense. So they have to destroy them to destroy 7 parts of Voldemort's whole. So let's keep on going to see what happens next. Well, you split yours. Okay, I don't quite understand how that works, though, sir, said Slughorn. His voice was carefully controlled, but Harry could sense his excitement. Well, you split your soul, you see. You split your soul, you see," said Slughorn, "and hide part of it in an object outside the body. Then, even if one's body is attacked or destroyed, one cannot die." We've heard that sentence before. We've heard that in the 5th book. One cannot live while the other survives. Dumbledore said that. Okay, so then even if one's body is attacked or destroyed, one cannot die, for one part of the soul remains earthbound and undamaged. But of course, existence in such a form— Slughorn's face crumbled, and Harry found himself remembering the words he had heard nearly 2 years before. "I was ripped from my body. I was less than spirit, less than the meanest ghost, but still I was alive." So that's technically from the 4th book, when Voldemort revives himself in the Triwizard Tournament. Alright. Few would want it, Tom. Very few. Death would be preferable. But Riddle's hunger was now apparent. His expression was greedy. He could no longer hide his longing. "How do you split your soul?" "Well," said Slughorn uncomfortably, "you must understand that the soul is supposed to remain intact and whole. Splitting is an act of violation. It is against nature. But how do you do it?" "By an act of evil, the supreme act of evil. By committing murder. Killing rips the soul apart. The wizard's intent upon creating a horcrux would use the damage to his advantage. He would encase the torn portion." So, any of you guys know what encase means? So just hold up right there. I need to see how much more there's left. Okay, that's a lot. So instead of finishing like a whole chapter today, I'm going to, well, not read the whole entire chapter, but like maybe like a quarter, in case. But how? "There's a spell. Do not ask me. I don't know," said Slughorn, shaking his head like an old elephant bothered by mosquitoes. "Do I look as though I tried it? Do I look like I'm a killer?" "No, sir, of course not," said Riddle quickly. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Not offended," said Slughorn gruffly. "It's natural to feel some curiosity about these things. Wizards of a certain caliber have always been drawn to that aspect of magic." "Yes, sir," said Riddle. "Why don't I understand, though? Just out of curiosity. I mean, would one horcrux be much use? Can you only split your soul once? Wouldn't it be better, make you stronger, and have your soul in pieces? I mean, for instance, isn't 7 more powerfully magical number? Wouldn't 7— "Merlin's beard, Tom!" yelled Slughorn. 7? Isn't it bad enough to think of killing one person, and in any case, bad enough to divide the soul? But to rip it into 7 pieces? Slughorn looked deeply troubled now. He was gazing at Riddle as though he had never seen him plainly before, and Harry could tell that he was regretting entering into the conversation at all. "Split your soul 7 parts of a whole." "Of course," he muttered. "This is all..." Hold on. Of course," he muttered. "This is all hypothetical. What we're discussing, isn't it? All academic." "Yes, sir. Of course," said Riddle quickly. But all at the same time. Keep it quiet. Would have told you. That's to say what we've discussed. People wouldn't like to think we've been chatting about horcruxes. It's a banned subject at Hogwarts. You know, Dumbledore is practically furious about it. I won't say a word, sir, said Riddle. And he left, but not before Harry had a glimpse of his face, which was full of of that same wild happiness it had worn when he had first found out that he was a wizard, the sort of happiness that did not enchant his handsome features, but made them somehow less human. Thank you, Harry, said Dumbledore quietly. Let us go. When Harry had landed back in the office floor, Dumbledore was already sitting down behind his desk. Harry sat too and waited for Dumbledore to speak. I have been hoping for this piece of evidence for a very long time, said Dumbledore at last. It confirms the theory on which I have been working. It tells me that I am right, and also how very far there is still to go. Harry suddenly noticed that every single one of the old headmasters and mistresses in the portraits around the walls were awake and listening to the conversation. A corpulent, red-nosed wizard had actually taken out an ear trumpet. Well, Harry, said Dumbledore, hold on. There's this thing that's been annoying me all day. Well, Harry, I am sure you understand the significance of what we had just heard. At the same age as you are now, give or take a few months. Tom Riddle is doing all he could to find out how to make himself immortal. Technically, he is immortal now. Okay, let's keep going. You think he succeeded then, sir? Said Harry. He made a horcrux. He made a horcrux, and that's why he didn't die when he attacked me. He had a horcrux hidden somewhere. A bit of his soul was safe, a bit or more. You heard Voldemort what he particularly wanted more from Horse was the opinion. Was the opinion on what would happen to the wizard who created more than one horcrux, and that would happen to be the wizard so determined to evade death that he would be prepared to murder many times, rip his soul repeatedly, so as to store it in many separately concealed horcruxes. No book would have given him that information, as far as I know, as far I am sure as Voldemort knew. No wizard had ever done more than tear his soul into two. Dumbledore paused for a moment, marshalling his thoughts, then said, 4 years ago, I received what considered certain proof that Voldemort had split his soul. Where? Said Harry. How? You handed it to me, Harry. The diary, Riddle's diary. The one giving instructions on how to reopen the Chamber of Secrets. I don't understand, sir, said Harry. Well, although I did not see the riddle who came out of the diary, what you described to me was a phenomenon I had never witnessed. A mere memory starting to act and think for itself. A mere memory sapping the life out of a girl whose hands it had fallen. No, something much more sinister had lived inside that book. A fragment of soul. I was almost sure of it. The diary had been a horcrux, but this raised as many questions as it answered. What intrigued and alarmed me most was that the diary had been intended as a weapon as much as a safeguard. I still don't understand, said Harry. Well, it worked as a horcrux as a horcrux is supposed to work. In other words, the fragment of soul concealed inside it was kept safe and had undoubtedly played its part in preventing the death of its owner. But there was no doubt that Riddle really wanted the diary read, wanted the piece of his soul to inhabit or possess somebody else, so that Slytherin's monster would be unleashed again. Well, he didn't want his hard work to be wasted, said Harry. He wanted people to know that he was Slytherin's heir, because he couldn't take credit at the time. Quite correct, said Dumbledore, nodding. But don't you see, Harry, that if he intended the diary to be passed to or planted on some future Hogwarts student, he was being remarkably blase about the precious fragment of his soul concealed within it. The point of a horcrux is, as Professor Slughorn explained, to keep a part of the self hidden and safe. To keep a part of the self hidden and safe, not to fling into somebody else's path and run the risk that they might destroy it, as indeed happened. The particular fragment of soul is no more. You saw that. You saw to that. The careless way in which Voldemort regarded the Horcrux seemed most ominous to me. It suggested that he must have made, or been planning to make, more Horcruxes, so that the loss of his first would not be so terminal. I did not wish to believe it, but nothing else seemed to make sense. Then you told me 2 years later that on the night that Voldemort returned to its body, he made the most illuminating and alarming statement to his Death Eaters. I, who have gone further than anybody along the path that leads to immortality, that was what you told me, he said, further than anybody. And I thought I knew what that meant, though the Death Eaters did not. He was referring to his Horcruxes. Horcruxes in the plural, Harry, which I do not believe any other wizard has ever had. Yet it fitted, for Lord Voldemort had seemed to grow less human with the passing years, and the transformation that he had undergone seemed to me to be the only explainable of his soul was mutilated beyond the realms of what we might call usual evil. So that's as far as I'm going to read with you guys. You guys can read the rest. I know that's not one chapter, but this chapter is very, very long. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you. Bye.